In 1987, one man gambled everything he had to buy Starbucks, but it almost cost him everything. Starbucks wasn't always a coffee empire. Back then, it sold coffee beans in a few small stores in Seattle. Howard Schultz visited one of those stores and thought, they're doing it all wrong. He had a vision. What if Starbucks became about coffee, experiences, not just beans? But Schultz didn't own the company, and the founders rejected his idea. They didn't want to change. So Schultz made a bold move. He left Starbucks and started his own coffee company. He copied his own idea. Comfortable cafes with Italian-inspired drinks like lattes and espressos. And as Seattle fell in love with his idea, Starbucks started to lose customers to Schultz's company. In 1987, Schultz took his biggest risk yet. He bought Starbucks for $3.8 million. But buying the company didn't make it profitable. It almost collapsed under debt. Starbucks was bleeding cash, and Schultz faced his darkest moment. His investors wanted him to admit failure. Desperate, he made one risky decision: to invest even more money in expanding the stores nationwide. Slowly, the gamble worked. Customers fell in love with Starbucks cafes across the country, and Schultz's focus on personalized service and Italian-style drinks paid off, creating a unique coffee culture. Starbucks became a sensation, opening thousands of locations worldwide. Today, it serves over 100 million customers every week, and it all began with one man refusing to give up on his vision. What other Starbucks story do you want to know? Follow us for more.
Nintendo was on the brink of collapse when Hiroshi Yamauchi made the riskiest decision of his life. It was the early 1980s. Nintendo had been a playing card company for decades, but those cards were no longer selling. Hiroshi knew the company needed to evolve, and fast. They tried everything: instant rice, taxis, even a vacuum cleaner. All failed. Then came the crazy idea: a video game console. But the market was saturated, and a major crash had just wiped out competitors. Hiroshi knew one thing: they needed something so fresh and exciting that people couldn't ignore it. That's when a young designer, Shigeru Miyamoto, pitched a quirky idea: a game with a plumber trying to save a princess. Hiroshi approved the project, betting everything the company had on it. If it failed, Nintendo would be finished. The game was called Donkey Kong, featuring a carpenter, later renamed Mario. It became an instant sensation. Hiroshi then launched the Nintendo Entertainment System, introducing Mario as the mascot. It conquered the global market. Today, Nintendo is the most beloved video game company on Earth. But it all started with one risky decision. What if Hiroshi Yamauchi hadn't taken that gamble? Would gaming as we know it even exist? Follow us for more. Brian Chesky had $70 in his bank account, and rent was due in 2 weeks. His co-founder, Joe Gebbia, suggested a bizarre idea: renting out air mattresses in their living room. With just a laptop and desperation, they built a simple website: airbedandbreakfast.com. Their first guests? 3 strangers who paid $80 each to sleep on air mattresses. But growing the idea wasn't easy. Investors laughed them out of the room. To survive, Brian maxed out his credit cards and sold cereal boxes labeled Obama O's. That idea raised $30,000, keeping their dream alive a little longer. Months later, they met one investor who finally believed in them. The investor's $500,000 check changed everything. From there, Airbnb grew from air mattresses to millions of homes worldwide. Today, most people don't know Airbnb's humble beginnings involved cereal boxes and sheer desperation. Would you have bet on an idea this crazy? Follow us for more. Netflix almost sold itself to Blockbuster for $50 million. And Blockbuster laughed them out of the room. In 1997, Reed Hastings co-founded Netflix after being fined $40 for a late VHS tape. The idea was simple: rent DVDs online and avoid late fees. But it wasn't an instant hit. In the early days, Netflix burned through money trying to get customers. They were losing millions. By 2000, they were desperate. Reed and his team flew to Dallas to pitch Netflix to Blockbuster. They wanted Blockbuster to buy them. Reed nervously pitched the idea across a boardroom table. But Blockbuster executives laughed at the idea. They thought DVDs by mail would never work. Reed and his team flew home humiliated. The rejection felt like a death sentence. But instead of giving up, they focused on solving their biggest problem, scalability. They invented a subscription model, unlimited rentals for a flat monthly fee. Soon, subscribers grew. Netflix found its groove, but Blockbuster still didn't see the threat. Then, Netflix made a bold decision. They began pivoting to streaming before anyone else. By 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. Netflix? It was taking over the world. Today, Netflix streams to over 200 countries. What if Blockbuster had said yes? Follow us for more.